Assalamu alaikum everyone. I hope every one of you doing good. This tutorial is about the conditional and unconditional branch instructions in 8086 emulator. So how we can use conditional branch and unconditional branch in 8086. I will give you an example using the code. So let's first see that what the difference between them, and then we will go for the example. So actually the unconditional branch instructions are the normal instructions where we are not using any conditional statements. So in 8086 we have different instructions, like where we applying condition. There are few instructions which are we using as a label, as like jump equal. It will check the condition. If the condition is equal, then it jump to specific label. Similarly, we have different instructions like jump not equal, jump greater equal, jump less equals. So all these are the instructions that we use where we can implement conditional statements. So for conditional statement we use these instructions, but if you don't want to implement condition, then we simply write our code without implementing any condition on that. So there is different between conditional and unconditional, that where we are using these jump conditions and implementing some logic on them, then we call them as a conditional branch instructions. And if we are simple execute our code, we are taking simply value from user or just executing our instructions. So while there is no implementing conditional statements, so those are normal unconditional statement instructions. So let's go for example of this conditional and unconditional. I will tell you about how we can use labels, how we can use loop in 8086. So let's start with the example. We are in emulator 8086. So starting with the data section, we have data section where we use where we declare our data. So I need just a variable a to display some message. So for that I use a variable a. I will give it dimensions. For that I have 0 ah and 0 dh, and now I will going to pass the string if I am using loop. So for that I will put some message in the loop that hello, I'm in the loop. So this command will execute until I am in the loop. So $sign we use to end the string. Similarly, I take two variables more and store some random values to perform some operation in that as well. Let's take it some variable p defined byte, and let's give it some value by ourselves like 4. Similarly, I take c defined byte and 6. Now my declaration part is done. Now I have to go to the code section where I have to implement some my logic for the conditional, unconditional. So first let's see without conditional statement what we have to do. So let's start with the memory segment. Using AS register at the end we will link our data section, and similarly we move this to data segment the address. So now for simple unconditional statement we have to perform addition. So for that I have just simply move these values to some register and simply add them. So let's move them. I'll move a to register ah. Similarly I move al to b. So I simply move these two variables into some register, and now for addition I simply use the command add and add both register, add al. So this is how I simply without implementing any conditional statement I done this. So let's see its result. I go for the result. I'm not using any message here because that I will use for my conditional statement. So in the code, so as you see when my file is here, I use a in ah. So here is a in ah. I got its hexa. So for decimal value there would be a decimal value. Here you can see. Okay, one thing that I must say here, I can have to change this variable. This is b and this is c. So let's execute it again. because a I'm not using here, my string is not, I'm not passing, I just need my these two variables, so I'm just change b and c. Now move to register similarly and just add them. So now what's next, now I check my variables. Let's see, I open the registers. Here I have the value a. I can check the value of my variable where I move b value into ah. So b value in ah, here is ah04, so it's moved. Now I check for next instruction, which is I move al c to al. So here is c, which is 6 to al. Now what I have to do, I have to add both of them, and the result is stored to ah into destination register. So after the execution of this instruction, my result will be in ah, which is 10. So if this is giving a hexa value, if you want to check its decimal value, double click on that, and here you get the decimal value. Similarly, this is simply an unconditional statement where you I'm not using any loop condition and anything else. For the loop condition, I have to implement some additional commands. Like after this, I have to implement some condition statements. So let's use them. After add, I put some condition like jump not 0. Jump not 0 tell me that after the addition, if the result is 0 or not. Of course there is no not 0, there there will be some value, so I'm using not 0. If the condition is true, not 0, yes, then I have to give some label where it has to go. So I give the label name here. So this is the label we use to move our instruction next. So I have to make this label and pass some value. So here I am in the loop, and for the loop in 8086 we have so for that we have a register cx that we use. So I have to declare here a cx register. We simply move some value to cx, which indicate that how many times we want to run our loop. So if I want to run my loop 10 times, so I have to pass the value to cx10. So now in the loop in the label I have to get my this message. So for the message read, I have instruction like load effective address at the a, where I use tx into a. So this will load my message, and then move ah09 for display and call interrupt 21h. So what this did, it come in the loop, and I have to call my loop. So for loop I have instruction built in loop here. So what it did that until the loop is not, and it will again and again execute the here label. So at every time it execute, it will decrement the value of cx. So in every iteration, it one decrement in the cx register. So if I give it 10 value, that means it execute this instruction 10 times, and then end the loop, and after that it end the program. So now we going to check our code. So here it is. It's executing properly. So if I'm changing value of loop, we see if I give it 5 value, then we see how it's execute. So this is how you can use loop in 8086 emulator while passing such value. So this is the conditional statements. So how we use conditional branching and unconditional branching, here it is a complete example. You can put different instructions here, you can pass different labels here, you can use multiple labels, multiple loops for your required instruction, your required program. So thank you so much. I hope you get a lot from this video. Thank you.